I don't have much of a script for this video. I have key points written down to keep me on track, but for the most part, I'm just talking, covering things. There will be an update at the end going over some future plans I have for this channel and some other content I want to give a shot, like a non-MapleStory channel and streaming. That being said, this video is gonna mostly be me covering a whole bunch of topics I've gotten comments about that don't really need a full video covering them and can be explained fairly quickly. I'm not gonna share any usernames or anything just in case they don't want to be shown. Make a video explaining how crit damage and crit rate would increase your character damage. I couldn't even begin to explain covering crit damage itself, its formula, how it fluctuates depending on modifiers. The strategy wiki page going over it does a way better job of covering it than I could for both the formula and what affects crit damage. Just know that even a little bit of crit damage helps a lot for damage on all your characters, no matter what class it is. Some classes get more crit damage than others, and yeah, that's pretty much it for crit damage. On the critical rate side of things, it caps at 100% for all classes. You should be aiming for 100% crit rate on all classes. For archers, if you have Vicious Shot, I don't think all archers do. I think most do, but not all of them. Anyways, you want to be aiming for over 100% crit rate on specifically archers because of their 5th job skill Vicious Shot, which if you have more crit rate than the cap, that all gets converted to crit damage. I think all the crit rate gets converted to crit damage actually. But having more than the cap gives you a lot more crit damage when you're using the skill. What's the most fun class to play? I've covered this before. It's mostly preference. Try out different characters, see what sticks with you. Look up certain classes if you think they'll appeal to you. Just try things out. Some classes are stronger than others in certain things. There are some classes that are just like stupid strong with everything, like Dawn Warrior. You just kind of hold one button down and your hitboxes are massive. You're good for grinding and bossing. You have kits for everything, but for the most part, just try things out. Try and see playstyles of certain classes, see how other people play them. Just know that there are some combo classes that focus a lot on attack cancellations or combos of certain skills where you have to hold down some skills while tapping others. Like in the case of Kadena, Blaster, I think Kali too. I'll get around to guides for them eventually. There's also some classes that have a lot more mobility than others. Like Thieves usually have a double flash jump. In Ho Young's case, they have a glide and then can reset all of their mobility if they use their Heaven's Flame skill. That's why I like them personally. And also their glide just stops all their momentum. That's really nice. There are some classes better at grinding, like in the case of Luminous or Ice Lightning, or if you're a summon class, or if you're just like lazy farming. Nothing wrong with that. Some classes are a lot better at bossing than others. Like in the case of single target focused classes, like Hero having their whole enrage system focusing on, at max, on their enraged raging blow, 2 mobs hit, and it ups their lines and damage for everything with just those hits. Really, there's no bad classes to play, unless you're a Kana. I'm hoping that Nexon reworks them eventually, or gives them some buffs, because ever since Kishin's nerf, they've just been only getting nerfed, even though Hayato has entirely gotten all their tri-nodes retooled, so then all their tri-nodes went down to like 20-something, down to like 9 or 10, I think. They're in a pretty bad state. I'd say go for any class that isn't Kana right now. I have nothing against Kanas. I love them. I love how they look. I love how they play, but Nexon is treating them horribly right now. I'd avoid them at least for the time being. Maybe at least just get them to 200 for their Legion block and their Link skill at 120. But beyond that, I wouldn't play them unless you really like how they play. Nothing wrong with them as a whole, just oof. They're definitely the class that's suffering the most right now. I hope they do get some kind of rework. They desperately need it. I'd love a second video on transferring efficiently. So, I apologize. In my Star Force video, I should have definitely covered this and there's an oversight, I'm sorry. You can transfer equipment that's within 10 levels in between items. The lower level item goes on the higher level item, and when you transfer it, it loses 1 star. The stats carry over, and it adjusts it if it's a different item tier, I believe. And most people do that in case they have a special item that they don't want to lose. Like if it's a pitched item, then they'll usually bonk up like Golix belts or pink bean belts onto superior Golix belts, because 140 to 150, you get 1 to 21, it costs less, and then you transfer it and then it's down to 20. So then you can just start star forcing on that Golix belt. You could also get the pink bean belt up to 22 and then transfer it to 21 and give that a shot. It's a little more costly, but I know people that do it. As for this comment mentioning I brute forced my Absol to 17 and it was a huge waste of Mesos, there are some equips that do transfer up to Absolab gear, but it's mostly just equipment that drops from Akechi and Renmaru. There might be some others that you can craft and such, but for the most part, the ones that you can get like pretty regularly are those two. There's not many options outside of that, but it does help if you're trying to keep Absolab if you're new to the game and you don't want to lose it immediately through forgetting to safeguard or not having enough to safeguard, or just trying to be efficient with your Mesos and such. Please don't end every sentence with a question mark, and then why end every sentence with a question mark? That's just how I talk, I don't know what to say there. It might also be from me reading scripts and that's just how I read scripts, but I think it's more so just my voice inflection. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, that's just how I talk. Outro OST? The song I use for my outro, ever since I started having an outro, has always been Maple Story 2's Spring and Critias. That game is amazing music, go listen to it if you like Spring and Critias. That game is full of great music. Would you be able to do a video on progression for bosses? I see a lot of random spreadsheets out there, but a guide on what damage range and main stats you could be at in order to know you'll help clear a boss and get loot at the end level would be massive. The thing is, there's no set range to suggest for bosses. Ranges fluctuate between characters. The most you could go off of is just going off of what's that character's attack, what's their IED, what's their boss stat, and then giving an estimation based off those. Because usually there is a range for that. Like for Chaos Rudibus, I recommend having around 80 to 85% IED, so you can hit all the way up to Chaos Vellum. And then for the boss damage, I kind of forget. It's usually around like, if you have anywhere from like 200 to 250% boss. For CRA, I'd personally aim for like anywhere between 150 to 250% boss damage. It really depends on the character and your skill level on how well you can clear bosses yourself and how long you're willing to put up with a boss for. You technically could take on CRA bosses with way less stats than that. It would just take longer and you'd run out the timer for a lot longer, and you'd have to be putting up with their mechanics a lot more. And this is all without factoring in said characters' links, legion, their hyper stats, what trinodes they have, what 5th job skills they have currently too, familiars, what badges they have equipped, what buffs they're using, what consumable potions they're using, are they using guild skills? There's a ton of factors for it. So yeah, while I would love to cover just it on a number basis of things, you kinda can't. It all varies per character. Drop Gear Cube Guide in the Modern Age. I'm assuming this means how to get drop gear through cubing easier. It's the same as normal cubing, keep using bright cubes to tier everything up, but once it's legendary, swap to glowing cubes and keep rolling for a drop rate line. That's it. Use bright cubes if you want better chances at things like 2 drop lines on the same gear. This whole section can also be applied to Meso gear if you plan on grinding for money. You just swap drop for % Mesos obtained lines. You could go for both if you wanted both, but I'd use bright cubes for that. I don't know the rates on glowing cubes getting double primes, but it's fairly low. You have a better chance of just buying bright cubes, but only if you wanted more than 1 drop line on a piece of gear. If you get 2, I'd keep it at that. Getting 3 is really hard. And now for the update section of this video. Why have I only uploaded once this month so far? There's a few reasons. The first biggest one would be I lost slight motivation from making videos after the constant barrage of Nexon debacles every week at this rate. First it was them rigging cubes in KMS, not giving 3-line boss, and then them a week later, at least for Korea's side of things, I don't know if GMS yet, just announcing they're going to nuke all forms of Meso for reboot, capping off how many Mesos you can get a day, removing Ursus, all kinds of other stuff. And also pay-to-win weaseling its way back into the game through the Solerta booster, even for reboot. That's literally a pay-to-win option. And also just the lack of communication from GMS itself, with the whole looming threat of will they, won't they for GMS reboot. Them not really being clear even with their whole roadmap, just not communicating with us much at all. The whole community up in arms, just kind of afraid like what's gonna happen to us. We don't know. Also technically Beast Tamer never got a 6th job like they were promising. I don't even know if they were promising it, but she got a full-on rework. Her new name is Lynn. Now I gotta record a bunch of her footage before she gets canned in a few months. I think they said like April or May is when she's coming out. That being said, I still have ideas for my next couple of videos. 2 class guides I want to do, and 1 non-class guide in between covering a few systems that confuse people. Mainly newer players, but I also figure some people that regularly play this game too. It might help them, I don't know. I'm also going to aim for covering every class in this game eventually, even if they decide to rework or make new classes. I'll keep making guides for everything they put out. I also want to try and make more accurate guides. If there are people that main certain classes I don't play, that are experts about a lot of their inner workings, I'd love any tips they could throw my way, or to fact check things. Even when I think that I researched a class as thoroughly as I can, there's usually someone that's just correcting me on everything that I got wrong, and I do appreciate it, but I want to try avoiding all the inaccuracies. I mean, a few weeks ago, the Dawn Warrior Discord pinged me because they thought I was trying to push people to get 3 perfect tries on Dawn Warrior. I didn't intend for that, I'm just an idiot and had extra slots, and I wanted to get up to max Trinode skill level quickly, so I just used 3 perfects because I had them. That's it. Don't get 3 perfect tries, you only need 2 to get any of your try skills up to max level. Only use 3 if you really feel like it, but don't. It's a waste of node stones, and it'd be better spent on anything else, especially now that you have a lot more slots since New Age. My second point, I've been working a bit behind the scenes on a second channel, in case Nexon decides to obliterate GMS sometime in the near future. I personally don't think that will happen, and I hope it never does happen, but I have no reason to believe this company on anything anymore. They just kind of operate however they please, and people still put up with their antics. But anyways, I like way too many things, and I have a whole lot of non-MapleStory video related ideas that I don't want to flood this channel with. I want to keep this channel entirely MapleStory focused. I'm still trying to come up with a good channel name and work on my first video for said channel though, so be patient on that. I've also been setting up some things for streams, and I have ideas to keep to a few themes for my streams. One of them will be MapleStory, obviously. Either doing bosses or grinding out familiars or event things, or maybe getting a new character up to 6th job, or sometimes maybe even doing silly challenges just to say, I gave it a shot. Another theme will be non-MapleStory games, things like playing through my backlog, streaming some console games, older video games, things like that. There will probably be more ideas in the future if they come to me, but the last main theme is doing art. Drawing some new outro animations, maybe some profile pic art, drawing characters and other things from memory, that kind of stuff. I'm still trying to figure out dual streaming, if I want to dual stream at all, and getting my microphone to sound nice and clear. I might still have sudden streams if there's stuff I want to do in that moment, so if you wanted more of me, look forward to those in the future. Until then, I'm going to go back to work on these class guides that I want to do. That's all.